very recently I went for a ride to Apple Country Stanthorpe. I thought what I would do is recap some of the adventure here and sort of tell the tale to you guys rather than you listening to me heavily breathe into my microphone whilst in the helmet. So, we're actually going to break this one up into a couple of parts just because there is so much footage that I got and so many things that happened on this ride. And to kick it off, the first section that we're going to talk about, but there's no other way to describe it other than, well, scenic. It was just beautiful. So, like I said, this ride that I went on was a big group ride organised by, I keep hearing APC Rally, but essentially a fellow named John from a Facebook group put up the ride, so I'll drop the details of the Facebook group in the description down below. So there was something like 150 odd bikes. A very large portion of them were KTM orange, which was very interesting to see. I didn't know that there were that many KTMs around the place in Brisbane, so I do know people came from far and wide to come and join this ride, but look, there was a massive selection of bikes there. So we all did a bit of a staggered leave, made our way down Undullah Rd. The weather was spectacular, though that being said, we'd had some pretty big rains lately. We've had a really wet summer. So some of the creeks were up a bit, there was a bit of water, nothing crazy to get through on the roads, but that did sort of, let's just leave a foreboding mark here because part two, which we'll get to, there's no other words for it, it was a bit of a shit show, some of the sections with the water that was up there, but I digress. We made our way out from Undullah Rd, zigzagged across some highways. I don't even know how John found half these roads and put them on the map, but they were just stellar. Some of the little dirt tracks that zigzagged their way across. It's kind of funny how these big adventure rides work. Like if you go from Ipswich to Stanthorpe, that's like a 2 and a bit hour ride, really boring down the highway. I'll bring up the map of what we did. It was zigzagging and everywhere, but it was phenomenal, and it made that massive amount of miles we did in the day seemed like it went by really fast. So anyway, we made our way across to Rathdowney, grabbed ourselves a tradies breakfast, bit of a pie or a sausage roll, and then it was time to jump across and go over the range towards the back of a place called Maroon Dam. Now the roads back there, still only just dirt roads, they're not really tracks. Super scenic again, just beautiful. So big flowing hills, lots going on. How is the view? That is pretty special spot. We did have a little bit of sort of weather to watch out for, so on one side it was beautiful and clean, on the other side it was a bit dark and dicey. So I know a few of us kept swapping our bloody wet weather gear on and off depending on how much of the heat we could take. After we made our way down Maroon Dam, it was time for us to do the classic for Southeast Queensland, and that's the head road. So we're starting at, I believe it's Bow Desert, that one sort of goes through Alberta, goes up the side of the mountain and just pops out at the top through a bit of a valley in between the mountains, I guess, and it is just stunning. The roads there are beautiful. Unfortunately, due to all the wet weather, the Condamine Gorge itself was closed, so that's a road that goes through and crosses the creek or the Condamine River 14 odd times. Really good fun, but with all the rain we'd had, it was probably 6 feet underwater and a bit too much for adventure bikes. So it wasn't the worst thing that it was closed, and I'm going to save the talking about water crossings too much for part 2. So what I might actually do is I might go ahead and wash this bike because it still desperately needs it. And then I'm going to cut through and start editing part 2, which there's no other way to describe it other than a muddy shit show. So if you want to hear that story, get subscribed. If you like the new format, give us a thumbs up. And I'll see you all in the next one for, yeah, what was a pretty epic adventure. Oh, to leave this off, look, why don't I show the rest of the footage from the twisties, because that was just beautiful free-flowing roads. But let's keep this one short. I'll see you in the next one. All good?